Good morning, students. This is Ali Muddin, the social faculty in Oxford and Nivedita Group of School at Parchur and Inkol. In our previous class, I taught a lesson to you about the people. Now I am going to introduce a new topic to you, that is, the name of our lesson is the people and settlement. People and settlement. Let us listen. In this topic, we are going to learn about what is settlement and how settlement began. Why do settlement changes? These are all the things we are going to learn in this lesson. Let's begin. What is settlement? Here settlement means the way we organize ourselves, the living spaces in a place is called as settlement. The living spaces in a place. Generally there should be a large places there, but in all the places we can't live. In some places only we live and work. So the living spaces in a place is called as the settlement. Here two words are there. Living spaces in a place. The living spaces in a place is called as the settlement. In a settlement, we have a different kinds of activities. For example, in your settlement, it means in your living place, you can find the different kinds of activities. Let us see what kind of places, what type of activities are present in a settlement. We have different kinds of activities. For example, houses. In your area, you can observe the houses, as well as educational activities. For example, you take the schools, colleges, universities, like that. So the living spaces in a place is called as a settlement. In a settlement, we have a different kind of activities, like you take the educational activities, you take the religious activities. For example, you take in a settlement we can find various kinds of religious activities of different religion. For example, for Hinduism, you take temples, you take masjid, nothing but mosque, as well as you take church, as well as you take gurudwara. This type of religious activities also we can find in the settlement. As well as in a settlement we can also find the commercial activities. For example, you take the shops, shopping malls, theaters, as well as you take the markets, as well as function halls. These type of commercial activities also we can find in a settlement. So listen carefully. The living spaces in a place is called as a settlement. In a settlement, we have various kinds of activities like the houses, educational activities, religious activities, as well as the commercial activities. Let us see how settlement began. Let us say how settlement began. Before going to learn about how settlement began, you have to know about the early humans. See, early humans, Early humans started their life as a nomads. Nomads means the people who are moving from one place to another place in search of food. They were known as the nomads. That type of life is called as the nomadic life. Nomadic life means they did not stay in one place like we are staying in one place now in the present days. But the nomadic life, they do not stay in one place. They are moving always from one place to another place in search of food. That type of life is called as the nomadic life. The nomads are also known as hunter-gatherers. It means they started to hunt the animals to gather the food. For example, they gather the food from the plants, otherwise from the trees. Sometimes they also hunt the animals to get the meat, to get the skins of those animals. They did not practice agriculture in the nomadic life. They always move from one place to another place. This type of nomadic life was led by the humans about 2 lakhs years. Later, some of the hunter-gatherers, they started to practice agriculture. When they started to practice the agriculture, they stopped the nomadic life and they started to settle down in one area. Such a leading of life by settling in one area and producing food is called as a sedentary life. Let us see nomadic life and sedentary life. 2 types of lives were led by the humans. Early humans led a nomadic life, nothing but hunter-gatherers. They are moving from one place to another place in search of food. They get the food from the plants as well as from the trees, as well as they hunt the animals to get the meat, hide, everything. To hunt the animals, early humans uses some weapons. Those weapons were made with the stone. All stone made weapons only used by the early humans to lead a nomadic life. But now most of the people are leading a sedentary life. This sedentary life began around 12,000 years ago. This sedentary life means not moving from place to place and settle down in one area and practice the agriculture. As a nomads, they led a nomadic life. As an agriculturist means they practice the agriculture and they are producing what they want. They are leading a sedentary life. In a nomadic life, early humans lived in the caves. But in a sedentary life, people are building the various kinds of houses to settle down in one area. Like that, these human settlement began. When some of the hunter-gatherers started the agriculture was progressive. As agriculture was progress means developed, the humans organizes their life. Listen, as agriculture was progress, humans organized their life by observing the changes that happened in the nature. For example, they observed the changes that happened in the nature. For example, seasonal cycles. The cycles of seasons they have observed, and they also observed how to predict the climate, prediction of climatic conditions, and how to plan the timings of different agricultural activities. Agricultural activities means you take the sowing, threshing, harvesting, all these things they were practiced after the development of agriculture. As well as the population increases as year by year, as the population increases, so many specializations was taking place. So many specializations were emerged. For example, some of the people have becoming as weavers, some of the people becoming as potters, some of the people becoming as metal workers. like the different kinds of specializations. Craft persons was developed in the society. As the production of various goods increased, those goods selling was started. It means trade was started later. Rulers who ruled, those rulers also encouraged these craft persons. Craft persons means like artisans, weavers, carpenters, potters, and metal workers. Rulers encouraged these artisans to settle down in the urban areas. Urban areas means towns and cities. Like that, towns and cities was developed. Listen, in this topic we discussed that with the development of agriculture, people organize their life by observe the changes in the nature. They have observed the cycles of seasons like summer, winter, and rain. And they also predict the climatic conditions. And they also know how to plan the timings of different agricultural activities like sowing, threshing, and harvesting. With the increasing of population, so many specializations was emerged, like potters were emerged, weavers were emerged, metal workers were emerged. With the emergence of these type of activities, various kinds of produced in large quantity. Those various kinds of goods that was produced in large quantity were started to sell in the other areas, like the trade that was business was developed. All these things was happened in this manner. Let us see now. I am going to explain about why do settlement change? Why do settlement changes? Why do settlement changes? Settlement changes because of the different reasons. Now I am going to explain about some of the reasons to you by taking one example which was given in your textbook. That is, you take the example of Delhi. Delhi, you know that Delhi city. Now it is the capital of our country. Earlier, before our independence, before 1947. Most of the kings who ruled our country, they made Delhi as their capital. So Delhi became the capital for the many empires that ruled India. After independence, that is, after 1947, this Delhi only became the capital city of our country, India. Being as a capital city, it has so many facilities. It has a parliament. It has so many government offices. Because of the many facilities available in the capital city, many people from the different parts of our country, they came to this Delhi city and they settled down there. That too, at the time of independence 1947, our country was partitioned into India and Pakistan. When the new border was drawn between India and Pakistan, so much of displacement was happened. Nearly 1.5 crore people were displaced from India to Pakistan and from Pakistan to India. At the time of the partition, many people came to Delhi and settled down. That is called as in-migration. In-migration is there and out-migration is there. Out-migration means those who are going from our country to another country. That is out-migration. In-migration means those who are coming from other country to our country. At the time of the independence, many people from the Pakistan, they in-migrate into the India and they settle down in the Delhi city. Because of its facilities available in the Delhi, most of the people like to settle down in the Delhi city. Like that, Delhi population increases mainly for in-migration. Due to this in-migration, the people's settlement changes has taken place. So one of the reasons for the changing of settlement is due to the in-migration. Let us see, if you find at the time of the 1951, the starting days years of our independence, this Delhi city has a population of just 2 lakhs. But by 2011, in the span of these 60 years, the population increases to 1.6 crores. It means 1 crore 60 lakhs. So in the span of the 60 years from 1951 to 2011, the population of Delhi increases 8 times, 20 to 1.6 crores. This population has increases mainly because of this in-migration. Due to this in-migration, the settlement has changes. For example, we can find the different kinds of slum areas in the Delhi city. Different kinds of slum areas were developed. All of these slum areas does not have any legal acceptance. But in the course of time, some of the slum areas were regularized and accepted by the local authorities. So the slum areas which was regularized and accepted by the local authorities are known as the designated slum areas. Otherwise, regularized unauthorized colonies. If we find that Delhi has so many slum areas. Most of the slum areas does not have any legal authority, nothing but legal acceptance. But in the course of time, some of the slum areas were accepted by the local authorities. Those slum areas are known as designated slum areas, otherwise regularized unauthorized colonies. But the remaining slum areas, only accepted by the local authorities. Remaining slum areas does not have any legal acceptance. Those slum areas which does not have the legal acceptance, those slum areas are called as unauthorized colonies, otherwise Juggi Jhopli clusters. Are unauthorized colonies. These unauthorized colonies does not get any public facilities. It means maybe the drinking water, or maybe the sanitation, maybe the electricity or housing. Any facilities are not provided by the government in these unauthorized colonies. Why? Because the master plan ignores the existence of these colonies. Here, master plan. Every city had its own master plan. Master plan explains the designing and allocation of areas for different purposes. Listen, every city has the master plan. This master plan shows the designing and allotment of areas for different purposes. One area is allotted for one purpose in any city. One area is allotted for housing purpose. In a master plan means on that area houses only have to be constructed. Some areas are allotted in master plan for commercial purposes like shops, shopping complexes, theaters, like that. On that area, those types of works only have to be done. Some areas are allotted in the master plan for industries. On that area, industries only have to be established. Some areas are allotted in the master plan for educational institutions. On that area, educational institutions only have to be established. Some areas are allotted for the parks, playgrounds, and grazing lands. So which area is allotted for which purpose is shown by the master plan. So every city had its own master plan. Like the same manner, Delhi city also had such 3 master plans. How many master plans are having by Delhi means 3 master plans are having by the Delhi. But if we see the Delhi of present situation, no master plan was followed by the Delhi. It means Delhi was developed in a unplanned manner. Which manner? Unplanned manner. It means Delhi was developed without any plannings. Why Delhi was developed without any planning means because of different reasons. One of the reason is growing of population very faster. That is one reason. Second one is doing of delay in the announcement of areas demarcated for different purposes. Government only announce the area which is allotted for which purpose, but government is doing a delay in the announcement of areas demarcated for different purposes. Because of the delay of government in the announcement of areas for the different purposes in the master plan, some of the people who came to Delhi to do the various kinds of works, they occupy some lands without any legal permissions and they remain as the slums. But when government is announced that area for the another purpose, already some of the people were settled down on that area by arranging some small huts and houses. Then conflicts arises between the government and also the immigrants who came and occupied to Delhi and settled down without any legal. Listen, when government is doing the delay, then some of the people who came to Delhi, they occupied that area and without any legal permissions. Then when government announces that area for the another purpose, conflict arises. The people who settled down in the Delhi without taking the legal permissions, they have always a threat of evictions by the government. That's why the people who settle down without taking any legal permission, they always seek the political patronage to safeguard their lands. So these all things were happened because of the delay in the doing of announcement of areas for different purposes. But when government was announced that area for the another purposes, government evict the people from that area. Even the government evict the people from that area, whatever the compensation given by the government, that is very less. That is not enough to rebuild the house in another area. That's why these people who evicted, they go to the another area, maybe on the river banks or maybe in another area, they settle down there. After some time, again government announces that area for the another purpose. Like that it repeats so on without taking any legal permission. People changes from one place to another place in the moment. Okay, up to now I discussed about this. In the next class I will explain about the remaining.